Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom, and we're still talking about leadership. We could legit just have the entire podcast focus on leadership because it's so important. This is such an essential skill that we need to focus on. So that's why we're dedicating the entire month of June to leadership. And today specifically, we're talking about 10 essential skills that you need as a leader. So let me ask you this question. When you think of skills that you need as a leader, what are some skills that you think a good leader has? Like, just think back to somebody that you think is a great leader. What are some skills that you've seen in that person? So I'm going to talk about 10, and then next week we'll dive into, we got a lot of things to cover. My goodness. But I have my list of 10 here, not to say that this is like the only 10 that you need, but these 10 are really important. Tina, I love your comment on listening skills. So yeah, when you think of a great leader, we think of somebody who can listen. We talked about this in our last week's podcast. We listen before we speak. So I'm going to break down the 10. And then if I'm missing any, like I didn't have listening skills, I don't think, on this, but that's a great one. So strategic thinking, we need to be able to think strategically. And we got to be able to like look at everything that's happening in our businesses from like an outsider's perspective. So it's like you float above it, you look down and you see what's kind of happening. A lot of times we're so entrenched and like deep in it. That's why I'm a huge fan of coaching, because a lot of times we're so in it that we don't know what we don't know, and we need that outside perspective. But taking time to think strategically. Keith Cunningham wrote a book. Oh, The Road Less Stupid. I was like, I'm going to think of it. The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. And he talks about strategic thinking time. Because how often do we actually take the time to think? Like we're so busy and we're just on the go all of the time. But we have to actually take time off. This is one of the things like next week, I have it marked off, and I do this at the beginning of the year. I mark out a week off every single month where I just have time off, where it gives me breathing space. So I have thinking time, so I can think strategically. But this is a really big one. You can't just be go, 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 go without pausing to think strategy of what's actually going on. Next thing that we need, we got to be able to actually work, especially if we have an online business, as a leader in the digital space. So we need to be able to connect with people and be able to make those connections in a digital environment. So like utilizing Zoom, utilizing Voxer. When I think of leadership and it's only going like maybe back and forth over email or back and forth over Slack, or other communication tools, there's a lot of things that can get lost in translation when it comes to like tone of text messages or tone of email or something like that. I think it's really important with the digital age, when all we're doing is communicating over text or that kind of thing, or Slack, that we have to create more of a human experience so that people can connect with us. So that might look like sending video messages or sending audio messages or connecting on Voxer. And that way it's not just things that are lost in translation over tone. Okay. Really, really important. Another thing, another essential leadership skill that we need is innovation. Craig Groeschel is so good at this. If you don't listen to the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast, I highly recommend that you do. I almost grabbed his book over there. It's called Lead. I was like looking for all the books. This is the one that I grabbed, and I'm going to go over this one either next week or the week after. Lead Like Jesus by Ken Blanchard, Phil Hodges, and Phyllis Hendry. Anyways, so Craig Groeschel he is so good at innovation. And I remember him specifically talking at Global Leadership Summit a few years ago about innovation, of when the iPhone came out and apps started to become popular. They launched the YouVersion Bible app that came from Craig Groeschel's church. And so if you download the YouVersion Bible app, I literally have it open on my iPad right now, and I use it every single day. And this has been downloaded. I did not have this stat, how many times the YouVersion Bible app has been downloaded, but it is a lot. And It's because he has innovation. He's looking at what's coming, what's going to be needed in the digital space with all these apps that are being downloaded. They were really the pioneers of creating the digital Bible and having it in all these different translations so it could be accessed all over the world. So if you want to learn innovation, I definitely recommend checking out Craig Groeschel's podcast. It's really good, and attending Global Leadership Summit in August of this year. It'll be good. Okay, next leadership skill that you need, it's just dealing with people and dealing with crisis management. And when you're anytime you get people together, there's going to be some form of conflict. If you haven't reached that point in your business where you have it, it'll probably happen at some point. And you have to be able to emotionally handle people and seeing what makes them tick, and it's like, especially if you're getting multiple people together that have multiple perspectives and different communication styles, you have to be able to bring everyone together that are all on the same page. And sometimes it doesn't work out because someone wasn't a fit culturally for your organization. Maybe you hired the wrong person. We have done this, where we thought this person was a great fit. Turned out culturally they were not. And that's when you might have to deal with crisis management of seeing like, okay, this person's not a great fit. We're going to try and see if we can make it work. If not, they might have to go. But being able to deal with people. I remember Danny Johnson said, and I remember this from 12 years ago when I attended her seminar, First Steps to Success. If you learn more about people than you do your product line, you'll be unusually successful. And so you've got to really understand people, what makes them tick, what are they motivated by, understanding the different personality styles, because people are going to respond to different things. Respond to like I could say the same thing to you as I do to somebody else, and they're going to respond differently based off of their personality style. So I have to be able to communicate with you based off of personality styles too. So understanding how people communicate is really, really important. Okay. Would you like me to do an entire episode on communication styles and different personality styles? If that would be helpful, let me know. Because we could go, I've done a training for this for my students in the Impact Partnership. Like we could go deep here, especially when it comes to like team members, when it comes to, clients that you have, of being able to work with them based off of their personality styles. Really, really important. Next leadership skill that you need, resiliency. You have to be resilient. If you want to do anything worthwhile, anything of substantial impact in the world, you are going to fall flat on your face. You're going to get hate. You're going to get criticism. It's a part of the journey. You have to be resilient. And every time you fall down, you got to get back up. And just, it's almost like expect to fail and pursue failure and because when you expect something to break or you pursue it, when it happens, you're not defeated. And so we've had quite the year with a lot of things happening within the business. I'll definitely do like a deep dive on some of the things that have happened. Not like total, yeah, I'll cover like the lessons I've learned from some of the things that have happened within our business. But I'm telling you, if you do not have the skill of resiliency, you're going to let circumstances control your spirit and pull you down, as opposed to being able to rise up and every single day looking at the situation of like, whoa, thanks God this happened. I know this is actually happening in my best interest whenever something bad happens. Because it's inevitable. Like there's no company that's just like up, 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 up forever. You're gonna have moments that it goes or moments that you have conflict or whatever it is. Stuff is going to happen. So you have to be able to be resilient. And when that happens, you get back up again. You get knocked down, you get back up again. You get knocked down, you get back up again, because that's what you do. Okay, next one. And I'm going to do an entire episode on this one, is leading as a servant first. So servant-based leadership, as opposed to And when you think of a leader, do you think of somebody that is being served, right? Or somebody that is serving? Um, and as leaders, when we make it our focus and our priority to look at the people that we are responsible for and we think about them first, okay? We think about their goals, what their needs are, and how we can help them win, you will have a completely different business. So looking at the different team members that you have, instead of just thinking, how can they serve me? How can they serve me? We look at what they have going on in their lives. We look at how we can show up and serve them. This is so, 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 so important that we lead with a servant's heart. And when we do that, as opposed to leading with our own self interest, that's when you can make a real impact in somebody's life, right? Because when you think about it, whose book was this? Nope, it's gone. I had her on the podcast like 3 years ago. She was a speaker at Global Leadership Summit. And I remember one of the things she said is like, we set these huge goals to reach millions of people, right? And then that can feel super daunting and super overwhelming. What if we just created the goal to serve one person and impact that one person really well? What happens then? We serve that one person really well, that creates a ripple effect, right? You don't have to have a million people following you or a million people in your organization or whatever it is to be able to create that big impact that you want. You literally, if you have one person that is in your organization or one person that's a client of yours, right? You treat that person like gold and you serve them really, really well. Okay. I feel like we could go on and on about different leadership skills. Which one do you think you need to work on the most? So we talked about, innovation, crisis management, resiliency, servant leadership. Uh, Another one, I'll talk one more for today. Emotional intelligence is a really big one of understanding and being able to handle, just being emotionally intelligent, right? So like, what does emotional intelligence mean to you? Because I think for me, I think of if I get criticism or if I have people that, handling different conflicts, I think of emotional intelligence isn't somebody that's like trying to fight back. They're actually there to listen and to understand. Uh, an emotionally intelligent person is somebody kind of like all the things that we've already been talking about, right? Um, they're able to listen before they speak. They're able to solve different conflicts when they arise. They're not going to take things personally. They're thinking about other people's interests ahead of their own, right? So just working on that emotional intelligence is a real big thing too. Okay. So wrapping up, we think strategically, we're innovators, we are crisis management, right? We're resilient. We lead as servants first, and we have emotional intelligence. So I'm going to be diving deeper into leadership over the next couple of weeks for the month of June. Biggest takeaway from today, let me see. And are there any leadership skills that you think that I missed? Because obviously, like we could go on and on and on, but these are some of the essential ones that I'm seeing right now that are kind of on my mind as I'm navigating different things within our company. So I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this helpful, make sure to share it with a friend and leave a review of the show. Before you leave a review, just take a screenshot and email it to us, clientcare@rachelngom.com. And I have a special gift for you as a way to say thank you. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.